June 16 could mark a new era for Barcelona. If members vote to allow the sell-off of a chunk of the club's future TV rights earnings and half of its retail arm, then they will be able to sign Robert Lewandowski and have a better chance of building a competitive team. But will they still need to see Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United? And what do they lose by mortgaging the club's future in this way? Sportsmail looks at the dilemma faces those who have to vote yes or no in 2 weeks. Why the need for more financial contortionism? Can the club not just go out and sign Lewandowski? As things stand, the club are not even allowed to register midfielder Sergi Roberto on his cut-price new contract, much less Lewandowski. La Liga chief Javier Tebas also said Barcelona cannot afford the Pole and would need to sell stars to generate funds, causing club president Joan Laporta to ask the former to abstain from making comments about the club's situation. They need to bring more money to the club. They need to sell things, TV rights, shirts, and players, whatever they can. Hence these two proposals being put to the vote. So let's talk proposal 1. Instead of selling the club's replica shirts and keeping all the revenue, they want to sell the retailer, making a quick buck at the expense of all the longer term. Is that it, more or less it? Well, it's not the whole retail arm. It's 49.9% of Barcelona licensing and merchandising, BLM. The club would still have majority control over decision-making, although actually they feel that one of the advantages of the deal is putting experts in charge of making more money from merchandising. It's not just shirts. With the club shops having to close through the pandemic and no Leo Messi shirts to sell last season, revenue has fallen. This is seen as selling half the business, but to someone who can make it more profitable. And how much and to whom will it be sold? The figure most often quoted, 200 euros, £170 million, to a consortium of two merchandising giants, Fanatics and Invest in Dust. And that means Barcelona only get 50.1% of future profit on club merchandise, but they get an immediate cash injection to help them get a better salary cap from La Liga. The deal is unlikely to be finalized before the end of the month, even if ratified by members, so it will not go into the calculation for the salary cap for next. Refresh our memories regards the salary cap. Twice a year La Liga sets salary limit. It's not just salaries, it's the total spend on football staff. There is a convoluted calculation, which subtracts projected spending on non-football costs from project. If a club is going to make $1 million but has to pay out $500,000 in debt repayments or paying non-football staff, then its salary limit is what's left, in this case $500,000. And Barca's salary cap, for want of a better expression, is grim. Losses from previous years are factored in, which is where Barcelona, who were financially devastated by shut stadiums during the pandemic, and had an out-of-control wage bill, were really hit. Declared losses of 481 meters, £410 million, euros last year saw La Liga set their salary limit at -144 meters euros, -123 million. They were the only club to be in the minus. That the club can only register new players if they bring in 4 times what they spend. If they sell De Jong for 120 meters euros, £102 million, they can sign Lewandowski for 30 meters, £25, 6 meters. Which is not going to happen, so that means they can't sign Lewandowski. If Bayern let him go for 30 meters euros and Barcelona pay that across the 3 years of the contract they will give him, that means 10 meters euros a season plus the 20 meters euros gross a season, so 30 meters euros a season. They would need to bring in 120 meters to allow themselves to sign him. Philippe Coutinho's sale has brought in 20 meters euros, and the club has put almost everyone up for sale with hopes of cashing in on a Samuel Umtiti, Clement Lenglet or an Oscar Mingueza. But selling players in contract, De Jong would bring in much more, but he is another under contract who does not want to leave. So they have moved on to plan B? Well, they might still need to sell players, but yes, signing a deal with the investment group CVC would bring in 270 meters euros, £230 million, 45 meters of which can be spent on squad, the rest on infrastructure and debt management, in exchange for a percentage, between 8 and 10, of future TV rights deals over the next 50 years. Barcelona rejected the idea because it was mortgaging the future of the club. Now with the clock ticking on them closing the books on the 21-22 season, they feel they have no choice. But now they not only want to sign it, they want to give up more of their TV rights. Barcelona have set up to 25% of rights. According to 2 Playbook, they would sign with CVC and they would give up a further 10% in a second. Estimates are that this will bring in 540 meters euros, £461 million, in total. The original CVC deal cap. Barcelona want to do a second deal, possibly with another investment group, for another sum of around 270 meters euros, £230 million. That counts as investment and not new. They will still not be able to spend it immediately on players if they are still having to abide by the 1-to-4 rule, but it does mean end-of-year figures will be in the positive instead of the negative, debt will be reduced, and the club will increase their chances of escaping the 1-to-4 rule sooner rather than later. if not this July then next January. But if the 200 meters from the sale of BLM won't be completed before the new salary cap is set and the first TV rights deal counts as new debt. Does this really help Barcelona strengthen this summer? They also can include Spotify Stadium sponsorship on this season. With a salary cap of -144 meters and a wage bill of around 500 euros, that leaves the club needing around 650 meters. The 540 meters from sold TV rights and the 200 meters from the sale of BLM comes to 740 meters, but if only 270 meters is immediately available, the club could still need to sell. There are other things that will help. La Liga has agreed that losses incurred because of the pandemic can be spread across various, and if top earners are sold, a greater proportion of the revenue can be spent. Out of the 20 meters for Coutinho, 50% can be spent because he was a top earner at the club. And accepting La Liga's CVC deal will enable Barcelona to spend 40.5 meters this summer, which ought to enable them to sign Lou. But in terms of registering the signings of Franck Kessié and Andreas Christensen and bringing in others, they would need to do more. And players' sales would make it even easier? If Manchester United pays 60 meters for De Jong, then it frees up another 15 meters. But he would then need replacing, so it would depend on how much cheaper a replacement. Valencia's Carlos Soler. Will the members vote yes? Probably, if the club successfully sell them the idea that TV rights and merchandising revenue will increase, so ceding a percentage of it has the signings, Kessié, Christensen, Lewandowski and Soler, if De Jong leaves, are all, but they need green light. For some it's fortune today, famine tomorrow. For others, dairy